I'm so glad that I finally found you. My one in a million girl. So now with my loving arms around you, I can stand up and face the world. Stand up and face the world. Because your love keeps lifting, keeps on lifting me higher, higher and higher. I said your love keeps lifting me, keeps on lifting me, keeps on lifting me higher and higher, higher. Your love keeps lifting me, keeps on lifting me higher, lifting me higher and higher, higher. I said your love keeps lifting me, keeps on lifting me, keeps on lifting me higher and higher. How did she fall in love? Tied and shaken up. Could it be hanging around in love? No one was fooling when you told about the sense I better take and move it on. Oh, that I see is that we're living life. Did you fail when you found that you paid the price? Hope it wasn't lost in an honest truth, so the past doesn't break all that we've been through. Every little thing that you did was right, but who knows what you did on the day you cried endlessly. Oh, you cried endlessly. Take a message from my love. Take a message from my love. Take a message. Take a message. Take a message. Take a message from my love. Take a message. Take a message from my love. Take a message. Take a message from my love. Take a message. Take a message from my love. Take a message. What could I say to you? Oh, when I'm making the waves was left unconscious. I didn't mean to tell you why, oh why. But you harbored all defense.
Hey!
Hey.
How y'all doing? How's everyone doing? Welcome to TG Talk. I am Bernie. That's Derek. That's James. And we got some other guests with us. We'll get to them in just a second. I just want to say thank you for tuning in. This is our second episode, or the second official episode. This is just our chance to, check in with each other. And we thought we'd take this opportunity to check in with all of you. So if you're new to this and you're used to hearing us sing, that's not going to happen today, just because it sounds absolutely awful.
The latency is so bad.
It's so bad. But we're here to talk. We're talking about things that we love, people we love, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to do this fairly regularly, or at least that's what we're going to aim to do. Before we start, I just want to take a moment to send our favorite merch guy, Robbie Ambrosio. He lost his father very recently, and we just want to send him and his family a whole lot of love. Robbie, we're thinking of you. The Ambrosio family, we love you. Thank you so much for everything you do for us. If you don't know who Robbie is, I'm sure you've seen him. Some of you have mistaken him for me. Robbie, we love you. All right. Derek, how you doing? We haven't seen you in a while.
Hey, I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
Because you're not part of the group.
I don't know. What? I'm doing good. I'm doing great.
Awesome, man. And James, you're doing well?
Sunday evening, here I am.
Yeah.
with bedhead in a room on a screen. You guys, what more can I want?
Behind you, it says "I will."
I will double you. I will wait.
Is that a Mumford Sons? Oh, that's a Mumford and Sons poster. Sweet. What we want to talk about today, and who we want to talk to, is our team. For those of you who have come to our shows, we get many, we get the nice compliments, and we get to really enjoy those. But we never really get to shine a light on the people that make us and have us look and sound as pretty as we can. And that would be a big thanks to our team. We have Kathryn Ball, one of our stage managers. Hello, Kathryn.
Hi, Bernie. Hi, boys. Thanks for
Tori
having me.
Popp.
Happy to have you.
Tori Popp, also another one of our stage managers. Hey, Tori. We have Chris. Yes. Hey, man.
Holla. What's up?
And the most interesting of them all, we got Jon Stanners with a nice photo of myself behind him. Look at that. He's got a picture of me. That's there regularly. He just worships
all the time.
That's what he does. That's Jon Stanners. Honestly, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being a part of our family. Honestly, I think Derek and James can both back me up here when you say you're the most important people on our team. With the
I don't know about Stanners.
Yeah, I don't know about me.
First I just want to talk to Kathryn for a bit. Kathryn, you're actually the first person to join who wasn't actual those guys performer to join the team. We were friends before this group even formed. You just loved the idea. I remember you just saying, "Whatever you want, I'm there to help," and I hope that stays true today.
Of course.
So, KB, you come from the theater world. You are a stage manager in the theater world. What was it? What is it about? What was it about the idea of us, those guys, that you want to just work with? Why did you want to work with us?
Oh gosh. Started doing fringe shows and whatnot, and I love a cappella music, and heck, I heard you sing and I was hooked. So yeah, I'm with you till the end. I think you guys are awesome. I mostly just like hanging out with you.
Oh,
He always says that she said anytime we try and pay her for her awesome work, she always tries to decline, and it has been since the very beginning. She always says, "Nope, you pay me when you're famous," and we're still not there yet. We are accumulating a hefty tab. KB, we'll get you there. We'll get you there one day, hopefully. KB actually came out to Banff, and I remember you mentioning you had a memory from coming out to Banff with us. What was that memory?
Oh gosh, this story makes me laugh every time I think about it. So we went out. I think you guys weren't you doing workshops for high school kids? Is that what you were doing out there? I think.
Doing a little bit of both. Yeah, we were there to half be adjudicated by real pros because we were just starting back then, but we were also there to hear and facilitate and just and hang out with kids. That sounds weird, but it's true. It was mostly a festival for students, and we were there to just hang out and we were there. We volunteered as well, and KB came out because she wanted to facilitate or help us with our performances as well.
My favorite memory about that trip is walking down the street in Banff. I don't remember. I know Bernie and Ben were with me. I don't remember who else. And these young high school girls came up to you guys and said, "Are you those guys?" And the looks on your faces, because you literally just look like, "Oh my God, we've made it. We're a boy." And then your faces fell immediately when they all went, Do you know where Sheldon is?
Well, that happened on more than one occasion. That's
Yes,
so
it did.
true. But my favorite moment of that was when we were with Jeremy Walmsley, who used to be in a group with us, and
Oh,
he
man.
was we all, if you know who Jeremy Walmsley is, you know he's the pretty one, and so he was definitely the cute in the boy band. There's always the cute young one, and that was Jeremy, and so Jeremy, well, I'd say that he was kind of used to that. And then one time we were coming out of the backstage part, and there was just girls camped out just outside and just kind of waiting. And then as soon as we walked in, they all went, "Is Sheldon here?" And we went, "No, he's not volunteering until later." And I remember looking at Jeremy, and Jeremy didn't look mad. He just kind of went, "Huh."
Having to just rethinking his existence.
Sheldon is dreamy. Alan McKenzie says Sheldon's dreamy. He really is. Sheldon has gotten finer with age, like a
fine wine.
right? Just like went away, he came back, and when he came back, I was a puddle. I was like, oh man, he got very, very hot.
You know,
It's
another
true.
good story from that trip was when Bernie said, "Oh, there's this kid. He's a bass. We need him." And that kid was James Campbell. And he thought he was
Was poached directly out of high school.
In Banff that year?
I
think you must have. Did you go to Banff? Did you guys go to Banff with Daniel Mack?
I think we went to Banff. Well, we did go to Banff once. I can't remember what year it was.
I'm pretty sure it was that year.
It must have been that year. That's the only way that really
Yeah,
makes
you were
sense.
there.
But,
Yeah.
yeah.
Definitely. So we used to do these. We used to do these gigs. When we were starting out, and we would get these corporate gigs, and we were really young and new to it. We didn't know what to expect. I remember Derek. Me and Derek were talking about this one story was it the Victorian, Derek?
Let's just call it a hotel in the city.
A hotel in the city.
Yes. Yeah, there was definitely a moment where we kind of went, maybe we should bring more people on board.
Maybe we should actually, bring professionals.
Yeah, we usually only had a sound tech if we were at in a theater house with an actual sound tech that came with the place. And sometimes we would say, "Oh, should we bring somebody along, a Chris Coyne type person to run the soundboard?" And we're like, we can just hear who's loud and who's quiet, and we can just balance on the fly on our own, and we don't really need somebody. And so there was kind of a feeling out period in the first couple of years there where that was happening. And there was this one particular time at the Victoria, and somebody had booked us to do a gig, and I'm sure KB was there doing our kind of stage managerial duties. And we had a bunch of requirements like on our rider. We're not super picky or whatever, but we have a few things. For example, we need a room to wait in before we perform. I think it's pretty
Pretty standard.
pretty standard.
People ask for liquor and like a different type of scotch in the green room, and we're like, we would like a green room.
And like maybe some water and some chairs if possible. So
chairs, a luxury item.
We arrived for this gig, and soundcheck goes okay, and we had actually called. There was somebody that one of us knew who kind of did some sound tech stuff that was available to just come and help us with the sound check. We would just leave it set the way it was, and we would just go on, press the power button on, and we were perfect. So we did all that. The sound check actually went okay, and then we're like, now where do we go? And I think the person who had booked us, who was a fan of ours for that particular company, wasn't available to be there that night. So whoever was in charge that night, didn't really know what we were doing there or any of that sort of thing. Am I freezing? Hello. Sorry, it looks like I'm freezing on my screen, so I don't know if that's just. Can you hear me?
Yeah, your audio is okay. It's just the video is cutting out every once in a while, but.
Okay, sorry. Anyway, so yeah, we arrive at this, and I don't think the organizers really knew what we needed, or hadn't gotten the messages as to, what we were doing when we were on, all that kind of thing. So anyway, we eventually kind of are like, oh, we're supposed to have a green room of some kind with some chairs and some water, and they were completely baffled by it. The not the hotel, but the organizers who were the company who had booked us to do that gig that night. So we went into this sort of holding room in the back. It was actually like the adjacent conference room. It was one of those conference centers where like they can move the walls around and reconfigure the huge room or small rooms. So we were put into one of the smaller rooms, which was really just a leftover of whatever that company didn't book. And it was cold, dark. There was no lights on. The heat had been on because they didn't expect anybody to be in there. There were no chairs. We were on the floor in this giant conference room with nothing, and it was freezing. And so KP to the rescue. She like kept going and asking, "Oh, do you mind if we get some chairs? Oh, do you mind if we turn the heat on?" And eventually that kind of kept going. And it became, and then we were like, "Oh," because here's the thing: is that room had no entry and exit, because there was obviously an entry to the main like hotel lobby or whatever, but it was locked because nobody was expected to use that room. So we only got in by going directly into like the dining area where everybody was set up and sitting. So we weren't supposed to go in and out of there until our performance. So like, oh, you know what? So we finally got the organizer to come back and talk to us, and she's like, here's how you can use the washroom. Go through the back here and then go through the kitchen and go through all these random ways. And we're like, okay, that's fine, I guess. And then they were like, but watch out for the chef. And we're like, what? They're like, he just gets a little temperamental sometimes. And we're like, okay. So I don't know who I was with, me and Dexter or something, or like, I guess we'll go try to use the washroom. And we're like, go over there. And it was like in the middle of dinner being served, and there was like 20 or 30 or 40 like banquet serving people like walking through and back. And there's this guy standing there with this huge pot of chicken going like, does everybody have food out there? I don't trust any of you mother effers. And he didn't say effers, if you know what I mean. I want somebody to go out there and check to make sure everybody's eating. And we're just like, oh my God. And it was like one of the scariest moments of my life at that time. It was totally crazy. So that just to give you a sense of the gig. But you know what? We preset our sound. Everything in sound check sounded perfect. We just have to press power on when we go on and we go. Well, we're supposed to go on at 7:30. It's 8, 8:30, 9 o'clock, 9:15. And we're like, this is getting ridiculous. So KB, thank you, goes and checks, hey, are the guys coming on soon? Because we thought we were supposed to be earlier in the program. And they're like, oh, right, those singer guys. And it was like, do you guys remember this? Is crazy. And so finally they're like, sure, I guess just go on now. And so we like walked in and we're like, hey, we're an a cappella group. How's it going?
No intro.
Yeah, no intro. It was so awkward. And then we're like, let's just press the power and just start singing and be done with this. And it was like, we turned the power on. It was like, this like constant like gray noise, like really loud sound, and we could not sing. So there we are, like all going in circles trying to figure out what the problem is with the sound, and we're like, maybe we should have had a sound guy here. In the end, somebody's on the phone with Chris Coyne, I'm sure, like, you gotta help us, what's going on? And he was like out of town somewhere. He was like, I don't know. What are you doing? Like, did you and like, you can only imagine trying to troubleshoot sound from a distance. I'm sure it's the worst thing to try and do ever. And in the end, I think he said, well, what's changed from your setup? And Ben looked over and he saw that there was a laptop plugged into a power bar that we had, or one of our extension cords that we brought that we were using for our sound mixer probably, and Ben unplugged it and everything was amazing. But by then we had totally fiddled with all the preset valves and levels because we were trying to fiddle with the board for 20 minutes to get it to work. And that was the last time we ever went to a gig without a sound person. So thanks, sound people.
So a few things to unpack from this gig. One,
Holy
we should have had a sound tech. Two, the people that had booked us forgot about us. We were almost killed by a very angry chef. There's a lot to unpack here.
What a wild time.
The major lesson there was, I'm pretty sure Chris Coyne was like, hey man, you guys should probably bring a sound guy with you at all times. And I'm like, you're right, Chris, you're hired. And that brings us to Chris Coyne. Chris Coyne has been our sound guy for so long. Not only is he our sound guy, he's pretty much a member of those guys because he is in our group chat. I don't know who added him in because all he does.
Bernie, I'm pretty sure it was you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was you, man.
It was definitely me. What I didn't know was the endless GIFs or GIFs that do not make sense, have no context. It's just weird GIFs. Sometimes they're questionable. I'm like, what is he thinking at this moment? And that is Chris Coyne. I don't know if anyone else has chats with that guy, but he loves them.
What kind of happens, I think, is that he does the GIF search and he just puts in a keyword that seems to be relevant to the conversation, resulting in a GIF that is completely irrelevant and very head scratching and sometimes deeply upsetting.
That's how I keep myself entertained. I gotta keep myself entertained at work, for God's sake.
Well, yeah. Speaking of work, Chris, you are with the Royal Manitoba Theatre Center. What have you been doing with your time in this COVID world? What's life like at work?
I've been, just twiddling my thumbs lately. I don't know. Just trying to make art. We're trying to make art, and then art gets shut down, and then we can get going again, and then get shut down again. It's been fun.
Tell us more about this. I mean, we have this. We just showed a photo of you in the warehouse with looks like a makeshift studio. It's a great photo of you in your mask, which is great. We actually poked fun at you the other day. Some of us in the group play poker every week, and as soon as that photo came out, one of our friends, Alan Castaneda, he created a meme, and the caption was like, "Oh damn, I lost at poker again," because Chris has yet to win at all.
Yet to win.
Tell us about this virtual studio. I mean, I guess it's kind of shut down right now, but once it's up,
I think we're gonna restart her. I think there's something coming up down the pipe. I mean, I can't really say right now, but I have faith that it will open up. So basically, what we did is basically opened up our warehouse space, which is our second joint other than the main stage on Market. So we have like a virtual camera studio in there, so we can do stuff like this basically. We can have conversations, we can, stream out a show. Right now, maximum 5 people, but so we can have like a small band or whatever you want to do. There's people who've reached out to us who are they want to do fundraisers and things like that. And it's free, everybody. It's free, pretty much.
That's a great resource.
Yeah, you just have to. We're working on insurance and things like that, but I'm sure I can't say much more about it. Otherwise, I'm sure my marketing department will probably lynch me. But...
Yeah. Oh man, let's hope not. Chris has been, like I said, he's been with us for quite some time. He travels with us where we need to go. Lately, we've been traveling to many places all across the province. This is one particular story that happened. We were on our way, or no, all of us. We were in Strathclair, Manitoba. We were getting ready to load in and get everything checked, and we get a phone call. At that point, many of us had stuck in with. We had gone over to Riding Mountain in Clear Lake and just kind of hung out there. We got a couple cabins, and we are just gonna hang out there, and then we drive over to Strathclair, which is just a few minutes away, and we get a call as we're at the venue, and we hear from Chris, and Chris is like, Chris, what happened?
Well, the van broke. It died, like just outside of where were we? Pinawa. Well, not Pinawa. Jeez. What's the other one there? Where was I? Ipawa. Thank you. Oh my. So, but the funny part was that I don't even know where I can't. I don't even know where I am anymore. Like, forget it.
I totally understand.
Well, I remember
But
Wes
it's like-
was in the car with you.
Wes was in the car with me, and it's like we're driving. We leave Neepawa, and like blah blah blah. He's like, "Hey man, can I plug my phone in?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" Here's a cord, blah blah. As soon as he plugs the phone in, all of a sudden the van, the power just goes. Poof. I'm like, what? And then it stopped. Keeps on doing it. I look over. I'm like, what the hell did you do? And he's like, what does it mean? I'm like, and then I'm sitting there going, and and at that point too, I'm like, oh yeah. So the wife says, take the van because the car is dangerous to take on the highway. Well, look what happens. We're now stuck on the highway. Like, so I call my wife. I'm like, yeah. So you told me to take the van. Guess what happened? So it's like, yeah, we get the guys a phone, and it's like, thankfully, like Ben was like, probably he just got in front of us somehow. Had to do a U-turn. He came to pick us up, but I had to leave the van on the side of the road that night. So it's just like, oh man. So I ended up sticking around it overnight.
I remember you calling your roadside assistants. I think it's Honda's roadside assistants.
Yeah.
And I remember you talking to them. I remember overhearing you speaking to them, and I remember you mentioning that you're just going to leave it there overnight. And I guess the roadside assistance operator, she's based in the U.S. and she just could not fathom. What do you mean you're just going to leave it on? You're going to get towed.
You're just going to leave it on
Chris
the road
like,
overnight?
I'm like, I mean,
those state troopers are going to do something about that.
Yeah. Oh, and then it dawns on you, right? It's like state trooper. I'm like, whoa, hold on a second. Like, where are you calling? Where am I calling you from? I'm in like Tennessee or something like that. I'm like, oh, I should have known by the accent, right? It was just like, I was just sitting there going, oh, okay, people. So if you ever buy Honda roadside assistance, just remember to phone the Canadian side, not the one that's actually on the pamphlets. Because like later on, you're like trying to tell them like, well, it's outside of Manitoba. Oh, I'm just trying to find that on the map, sir. Just give me a second. Well, I don't see it anywhere. I'm like, Canada.
We're getting a full performance from Chris here.
Yeah.
It was just, I mean, I'm thankfully, like, I'm glad that we got it because like that thing is paid for itself miles over. I mean, like, you got 2 kids, you have a van, you go everywhere, right? Like, it's just things break. So I have, I got to tell people as I out there, is like, if you're buying a used vehicle, get the warranty. It's worth it, even though you're like, oh, it's not worth it. I'm like, it's worth it. But it's fun to talk to people on the other side.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. So years go by, and Kathryn starts to get really busy. She's becoming a real career person. She gets to the point where she's booking more and more gigs, and her promise of helping us out and we don't have to pay her until we're famous starts to be a real burden. And look at she's like darting. Those eyes are just darting at me. I'm joking, but no, it's true. Kathryn started booking a lot of work, and she would go on tour with MTC a bunch of times and with other theaters. So KB at that point recommended our good pal, our late good pal. Start crying. Matthew Legacy. Matthew took on the reins, but KB made sure that he knew that was her gig and that he was just there to fill in. But what ended up happening was Matthew ended up becoming a real good friend of ours, one of the best, and we loved working with him. And I'm sure he also started getting work. Strathclair was actually one of his last gig that he did with us. And in that time, so before we move on, cheers to Matthew Legacy. We love you. During that time, we actually who disappeared?
That was Derek.
Derek.
He'll come back. In that time, we someone also very special to us, and she has also one of the greatest names ever it's so fun to say, Miss Tori Popp, pop, 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 and she always will do the dance anytime you do that. It's
I have
given.
to. You have to dance.
Tori, that's a number one rule in life. You have to dance. Tori came on. I was actually in a bind because I can't remember what happened, but I think it was maybe a week or so out, or maybe 2 weeks. It was really short notice, and I can't remember if KB or Matthew could not make it out to Manitou. It was Manitou, Manitoba. We've been there a few times, and I was asking my wife Robin, like, who do you know that could come, who could step in? And
Super last minute, yeah.
Super last minute, and there's this little young up and comer. Her name's Tori Popp, and Robin was friends with her. I think Robin worked with her at MTC, and she said Tori's great. And bonus, I think her mom's a fan. And I'm like, oh, really?
Huge fan.
So, yeah. So I mean, I went over and I sent Tori a quick message. I said, "Hey, Tori, do you happen to be free?" And she said, "Yes, she was." So, Tori, take us through what happened. Like, you came on super short notice. You were going to a small town in Manitoba with a bunch of guys you pretty much didn't really know a whole lot of. You knew a few of us. You were friends with, I think you were friends with like Wes and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But what was your thought process there when I'm like, "Hey, come with us," and like next week? What were you going? What was going through your head?
Well, I had to think about it for about 2 seconds, and then I said, yeah, of course. Because yes, my mom is a huge fan, but also I'm a huge fan. And it was similar to KB, right? It's like, yeah, I'll do literally anything for these guys. Like, I don't care what it is. I'll be there. Yeah, it didn't take me long to decide. It was great. That's one of the like best memories I have. Sitting there at the Manitou concert and seeing you guys on stage and being like, this is what I've wanted to do forever. Like, this is the best experience I've ever had. Like, I've wanted to do this forever. These are my friends. They're on stage. I'm having a great time. They're having a great time. And the audience is loving it. It was awesome.
I think your mom wanted the free tickets, Tori. That's what she wanted.
Yeah, that's what it was.
She's like,
You're right.
Free tickets, yeah.
Yeah. She's like, yes, finally, my daughter's in.
Awesome. Tori, I mean, you also came up through the theater world, but then you went to school. Going back to school. You went to Banff for a specific program. What program was that?
Yeah, so that was the stage management and production practicum. And so what I did was mostly in their like music department. So yeah, I come from like the theater world, but working on the music side really helped with like what I do with you guys for sure.
That's awesome. For those who don't know, I mean, some of you who have come to our shows and you may have sat near the sound booth or the SM booth, and you may have parked a seat either in front or behind either Kathryn or Tori, and you're like, what's going on? Because I just hear someone whispering. What they're doing for us is they're actually keeping us on track. We have in-ear monitors on stage, and they can talk to us while we are on stage. So instead of having paper lists of our set list, they're actually cute. They're letting us know what the next song is. They're letting us know who's introducing, because heaven forbid that we memorize this stuff, but we don't, because we have KB and Tori to just essentially let us know what's happening next. It's like sometimes there'll be quite a little bit of a delay. You might see like Sheldon looking around going, what's going on? And then all of a sudden he'll be like, oh, and then he picks up a mic stand. He's picking up that mic stand because Tori or KB goes, Sheldon, pick up the mic stand and walk it off stage. And then Sheldon walks off stage. So that's what's going on.
That's one of my like favorite memories too, is I think it was like the last that show, Chris like leaned over to me and was like, can you tell Michael to bring his mic up closer to his face? And so in all of their in-ear monitors, I'm like, Michael, put your mic closer to your face. And you can see everyone on stage just go. and look at Mike, and yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it's awesome. They're also playing our beginning pitches for us so that we can hear the note in our ears before we start singing. It's a lot nicer than hearing Ben blow into a
linty pitch pipe.
Yeah, sometimes he will blow into a pitch pipe and
Linty
there's lint
pitch
in it,
pipe.
and it's true because he keeps it in his pocket and he takes it out. And in the very beginning, he would try to blow a C and it would go, and like,
Yeah.
what's going on there?
That's a
And
good
he'd
bad
like,
name.
just give me a
Linty
second,
pitch
and then
pipe.
he'll pick it out on
No,
stage.
No,
even worse. I've seen him
It doesn't be-
suck the lint out of the pitch pipe.
Oh, come on, really?
It's-
Oh,
No,
oh,
no,
It works like a charm.
no.
oh.
Do you
Doesn't it get
remember?
stuck in his beard?
Do you guys remember there was one gig where I think it was after we went to Brandon and Ben had bought that digital pitch pipe? And do you remember that one time that we were using it in a show and it got stuck and he couldn't turn it off? And so he was just and he's like trying to turn it off. And I think he had to take the batteries out of it or something like that. And he had to use the linty pitch pipe as a backup.
From that moment on, we decided we are going to bring our stage managers with us. And they're just going to play the pitches into our ears.
Wes says,
And it works.
honestly, bring back the linty pitch pipe.
We should
Keep what works.
Instead of an iPad, we're just gonna give Tori and Kathryn a linty pitch pipe.
They'll have to blow into a microphone.
Oh my.
Yeah.
That would be
Who do we
awesome.
got here? We got Brent Hiroshi is here. We got Melissa and Dora's here. Sheldon Sheldon's chatting under those guys.
Sheldon's commandeered the those guys account.
Oh man, watch out.
So
Lengthy
awesome.
response.
Tori.
Hmm.
So, not I just want to give you kudos. You are a magical team that brings us the Winnipeg Fringe Festival, and I want to say that's a festival that is near and dear to all of us here. And tell us, what is it like running an absolute golf show? Because our Fringe Festival is huge. What's it like? What is it like running a festival like that?
Yeah, it's crazy, but much like you guys, I would not be able to do it without Kathryn, for sure. First of all, she's my go-to also, so I understand that. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it was a lot different this year too, right? Like we did all of our virtual stuff, and Chris helped us with that, so that was great. And it's funny how so many people on this call too are like part of our team at Fringe. Like that's what we do, right? We just bring everybody in that we trust and hope for the best, really. So
Then it just turns into it.
we got a nice picture of Tori here and doing her Fringe thing. Oh, that's
geez.
great. I don't know if you can see it right here. It's a good picture. It's from the Free Press when they ran it. Was that 2 years ago now? 2, 3? I don't know.
maybe last year,
Maybe last
three?
year.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. But yeah,
This year,
I
this
think a
summer
year and
did
a
not
half ago,
count.
yeah.
Yeah. Right. One request for when we are finally able to get another Fringe Fest going, can we change up the sound guy on the outdoor stage? Because that guy poses so much problems.
Yeah,
for
I
us.
don't know what's up with him.
What a
God.
pain.
Right? Jeez.
Tori, can we get new talent for next time? Because I'm just getting sick of the talent.
Yeah, you tell them front of
I don't
house.
know. Well, okay. How about those guys? They're great. They're the
That's what I was
band right
talking
now.
about, though. I was talking about, we can't have them anymore. I mean, they're just
Yeah, that's a no. They're done.
we got a
As the
comment.
person who
we
books
got-
the talent. No.
We got a comment here from Duncan Cox here on Facebook saying, "Stressed Fringe Tori is my favorite Tori."
Oof.
Mine
Cool.
You ever see me running by with my walkie-talkie? I'm like,
No, the better one is to watch Security KB. She's gonna get you, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh no.
The look on her.
Hold on. Sounds like there's a story here. Please.
Well,
tell.
there's lots of stories behind that one.
I'm not telling the story.
We're just gonna leave it at that.
She's a woman
We
on a
told her,
mission.
we're
That's
gonna-
all.
Dora on Facebook here says, Coyne, how about those guys plus the Fufu Chi-Chi choir?
Oh man, that would be. I love all you guys, but there's too much there for that small cube.
In all
We just
seriousness,
gotta
at least Coyne
build an
is going to be
extension.
helpful.
Can't handle the key.
Sorry, what?
In all seriousness,
What
at
did you
least
say,
Coyne is going to be helpful. I mean, you
Yeah,
remember?
yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember, but I remember Dexter was still around, so it must have been in our first 5 years. We were at a venue that came with the tech, and we were like, "Hey, we actually can't hear ourselves, so we can't really tune and sing. Can we get a little bit more on the monitor?" And the guy was like, "Not gonna happen." What are you doing here? I'll never forget. And Dexter could imitate the guy so well. He's like, "Not gonna happen." It's just so funny. So, you're better than that guy, Chris.
Yeah, but then I always tell you, I was like, you're not getting any of that, and then you're like,
Yeah. Oh, Duncan Cox here says, I live for watching Coyne roll his eyes from the booth.
yeah.
Yeah, we get a lot of that too. So
Yeah, try sitting next to him.
If I had like a
Mhm,
thing of if I had a thing of like the gifts next to me, and I would just send them constantly to like Kathryn or like Tori.
just whatever the GIF equivalent of a soundboard is.
Yeah.
So going back to our beginnings, we actually lighting was the last to really be incorporated into our shows. You know, it was usually just like sorry, John. But I remember being approached by a friend. His name's Kyle Heinrichs. He was with Event Light at the time. And they were just starting out, and they wanted to help us out, and they started lighting our shows, and it was great. Kyle ended up moving out to Vancouver and wasn't able to be at our shows, but he highly recommended this guy named Jon. He actually said Jon actually taught me everything that I know. I'm like, oh, then why are we working with you? And I remember showing up. It was at that show, and I can't remember which number it was. I think it was either 6 or 7. We were at the Garrick, and I remember showing up, and there Jon was. He was snacking at the booth. He had some snacks with him, and I didn't really think much about it. But then I looked. We became friends, and I looked at all his Instagram posts, and he always says, "Bring snacks wherever he is. He brings snacks." So it made all the sense in the world. But since then, working with I call him Stanners. Stanners has been great. He was already starting at that time, but he had started his own lighting company or production company. And what's really funny is because his business partner is a good old James Moore, who actually was one of our before even Kyle. James Moore came on and lit one of our shows, and he was great. But I don't know what happened there. We just kind of lost track of him. But they now started Red Rover Entertainment. I got a hoodie, which is super dope. Jon, thank you so much, man, for joining us, because it wasn't just it was not the fact that Kyle recommended you and we worked with you that one time, but then by chance we were booking the CCFM for our Christmas shows, and you just happened to also work there, so we didn't hire you directly there, and we just started working more and more together, and then now you just became a full-on homie of those guys. So thanks, man. Thanks for joining us.
I wish I had a lot of stories of going to middle of nowhere Manitoba with you guys as well, but you know what? I'll end up making it up the ladder to going to those two.
Yeah, we can't afford you, so well, we just don't want to pay you.
Yeah, there it is.
No, I think the issue is just that John has working vehicles. So
You guys.
Oh.
What's really interesting about
sorry to interrupt, but Bev Maslow says, "I will make cookies for you, John."
Excellent. This is great. I knew I was here for a
So
reason.
amazing.
You got snacks incoming.
Fun story about John here. I mean, well, it's not much of a story, but I
More of a message?
remember seeing Stanners. Yeah, more message. Ha. That's a little bit of an inside joke. Sorry. So I met Stanners long ago. I can't remember if it was before we started. I think it was maybe the first year or two of those guys. But I was working at the Park Theater, and Stanners was also at the Park Theater one time, but he was not there to light. He was actually performing. He used to be in a band called Take Me to the Pilot, and they are awesome. And
We got this
That-
this
you
graphic
let us
here on
know-
the screen of our good buddy here.
Oh no.
You can't
Rockstar pose.
his rock star pose. You can't see his face, but that's him, sure enough.
from on the stage, looking at the crowd from one end of the venue, and then all of a sudden, 180, he's on the opposite side, doing the lighting. What happened? So, what made you switch from being the performer to the guy behind the scenes?
I mean, there's a couple of things that a lot of people here are going to understand. First one is that, especially when you start in a band, you don't make any money. So you basically go home and work a job to afford to go on tour. And for about 6 or 7 years, we toured like 6 or 8 months of the year. So we would all go home and we'd have a job. And my job at first, it started being at MTS Center pushing cases. And then eventually I talked to someone, did it in other venues. And I mean, it's kind of like, that's like the ladder. Like every band has one useful tech guy. You know, you guys can fight between each other to figure out who it is, but every band has, and that band ends, and then that tech guy seems to start touring. And usually once you start touring, you go up the ladder, like you start doing audio first, and then you graduate from that pretty quick. And then you do video. That's kind of boring.
I'm sorry. Audio is second nature here. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And eventually, if you make it past those, you get to the top tier, which is lighting. And then eventually your band ends and you're like, well, I like touring and I'm mediocre at something that's top tier, which is still better than being top of something at bottom tier. And then you just end up behind a console. You know?
You know how it is.
It's easy.
I love the subtle dig at Chris.
That-
there.
You're
Oh,
gonna
yeah, totally. Yeah.
you're gonna make Chris quit.
Oh, I don't think that guy can make me quit. I'll just get back at him at some point. So.
But I mean,
That is awesome.
you know, basically to answer your question that one was serious too, but one that is maybe more descriptive, I guess. It's one of those things where I eventually ended up behind a console for bigger gigs, and I just love learning. So I just kept learning and watching shows and studying, learning how to use consoles. And it just got to the point where honestly, I had just as much fun behind a console than I do behind a drum kit. And then my life behind a drum kit ended, and might as well stick with one that's just as fun, you know?
Right on.
At home that you play around with.
What's that?
I have a drum kit at home that you play with.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I have a drum kit at home now that I have a 9-month-old baby and he's home
Can
all
you
the time.
use it? No.
Yeah, can I use it? Very rarely. I pretend to play piano. Well, I don't pretend. I play piano really poorly with my baby on my lap, though, because that's a lot less loud. But it's really not good. But he doesn't know that yet.
We have a question from Wes here on Facebook. He says, John, how many times have you heard the "it's lit" joke at work?
All of them, all the times.
All of the times.
The answer is usually one of these.
Meanwhile, he's like,
Almost as
he is
many
not
times
getting
as,
that guy is not getting lit on stage. That's it. Like, I'm
Yeah.
done with that joke.
You're like, oh, it is lit, except for where you're standing.
What was that? You wanted a special? Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
The anti-spot.
No, yeah. Sorry, rig went down when you were singing, and then house lights went up, and I was actually gone getting some chips. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Stanners, who's your least favorite Those Guys member?
I mean, it's obviously Bernie, but with explanation. Mostly because I am not capable of telling people how I feel about things, and Bernie is. See, this turned really serious real quick. So, mostly that. Because anytime we're at a show, it's kind of like there's always a part in the show where you hear a speech. Actually, well, by a lot of different people, but by Bernie, where even like, you're working, you're behind a console, you're like, yeah, songs, lights, pew, pew, whatever it is that I do, I just switch stuff. And then all of a sudden he starts talking, you're like, you know what? This is why I like working with these guys. Like they love what they do. They could get famous. They could be whatever level they want, but they just clearly love what they're doing. And I guess Bernie is just good at making me feel that, and I don't have that skill. So he is the one I like the least.
I hate Bernie because he makes me love things.
Feel good. Oh.
It makes me feel feelings.
Yeah.
That's I don't know how to respond to that. Thank you and thank you. I hate you.
Perfect.
That is hilarious. This is our crew. I hope you watching out there can kind of get a sense as to what it's like to be backstage with all of us when the doors aren't open and we're just kind of hanging out with each other. This is essentially what happens. We laugh and talk and we poke Jon at each other. Bev from Super Spike is asking Jon what kind of cookies
do you like?
Do you like?
Excellent. The Christmassiest of Christmas ones, just without any fruit in them. None of those. What are cherries? I don't know what people make.
Nothing healthy.
Like, must be a
The most
cookie.
unhealthiest cookie of all.
What? On a side note, Wes also says that was the most absurd compliment I have ever heard.
What is it? Stanners, man. Come on.
Not surprised.
That is awesome. In 2 weeks, in 2 weeks' time, we are about to embark, in a different type of show. Different because we are not going to be on a stage, we're not going to be in a venue, and most of all, we are not going to be supported, at least not in person, by our lovely crew here. In 2 weeks' time, we will be live streaming from our own living rooms with the Christmas offering, the holiday offering. We're calling it Under the Mistletoe with those guys at home. And we have been working for the last 2 months putting this stuff together because we can't be in the same room singing with each other. So we've been recording things at home. We've been pulling recordings from past performances, and we've been putting these little videos together for you. And we're going to be here to chat with you and introduce each video to you. So hopefully you will join us on December the 13th. Hopefully our team will be watching and chiming into the comments. And hopefully we get some, Jon making fun of Chris and vice versa in the comments. Just hoping for a lot of drama that way. Duncan says Stanners is too pickies. Now the cookies are delayed. Yes. Stanners is too picky.
That guy's not getting lit next time.
Yeah, he doesn't get his lamp. No lamp for that, man.
Please tell us. We gotta hear about this story. So Duncan opened our Christmas show last year. What was going on there? Someone please tell us what happened.
Well, I mean, he just asked me if I was going to do any cool lighting for him, and I told him my usual answer that the openers get the house lights, and then all the extra special stuff that I bring is for the headliner only. And so I guess by the time we got to his set, I had brought out like basically, honestly, it kind of looked like I just had one of these lamps, like one of these, and it was beside him, and I connected it so that I could just control from like where I was controlling the rest of the light. So the whole set looked the same as it would for an opener, except for this light by like the third song just started kind of flashing.
This one lamp. It's like a table
The funny
lamp.
part about it though is that he never noticed it until like way down the road.
It took a crowd laughing for him to realize what was going on, and then he tried to interact with the light, and then we put like a blue gel that was kind of like just hanging there and not properly with one piece of tape, and he kept trying to turn off the light and move it, maybe or not. That I was controlling it the whole time.
Oh my God.
So he got
Awesome. So Duncan got his special little light.
Yeah. Excellent. With his Armenian Didic.
Yeah. We should explain that too. Duncan plays the Armenian Duduk.
He's like, hey, can you give me a lot of like reverb on this thing? I'm like, what is it bad? Like, I've never heard this thing. Oh no, it's gonna be great. It's just like a flute. Yeah. So, there's nothing there. I was just
And if you're watching, so
Sounds like
we all need a YouTube video of Duncan just playing the Armenian Didic. So
he sent me a video for my birthday.
with that,
Sorry.
and that pretty much wraps it up. And again, I want to thank you four for joining us. This was awesome. I'm missing all of you in person, and hopefully one day we will be able to get together. Thank you so much. Any final words here you want to share with us?
Stanner, I think your kid's crying. You should go see him.
my kid's sleeping. He's sleeping real good.
Well, I can just
I got
say thanks, guys. Thanks to you four and everybody else who's ever worked with us for putting up with us and being awesome at what you do, especially you four, because we couldn't do the shows without you, and it's great.
Well, I know
It's
I'm
so
gonna
great to be. Yeah, it's so great to be like part of your family. That's like the best thing.
What they're
I do it for the money, unlike Stanners, who doesn't get paid.
You know what?
What Chris doesn't know is that we pay him because we know that he loves to buy tech, and that tech ends up getting used for those guys stuff. So the money just
Just sort of an ongoing
cycles
rolling
anyways.
budget. Yeah.
Pretty much. Hey, can we borrow your PA system?
You're actually just buying your own gear by paying Chris.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sorry, KB, you were saying something before we interrupted you there.
No, I was just saying how much I was gonna miss you guys on the 13th, but this is nice. It feels like Christmas hanging out with you guys.
And we will watch you.
Well,
We'll be hanging out with you guys.
Awesome.
We'll watch you. You won't see us. Like a show.
awesome.
Gonna
Well,
be
let's
weird,
try and all get together before Christmas, and let's try and get a little online Christmas party here. Dora, nice to see you. Thank you so much, Melissa. Thank you so much for joining us. Everyone here that commented, it was mostly Wes. Thanks, Wes. Thank you for joining us.
No.
We'll be here. You know what? Before we do that, we're just going to we want to preview a little 30-second snippet of a video that we were working on that's going to premiere. James, tell us more about it.
I do have a confession to make. It is more like 45 seconds, just because I couldn't fit all the stuff that I wanted to fit into 30 seconds. I thought there was good stuff in this video, but this is what we're going to show you is just a brief little snippet of one of the videos that we're going to be showing on the 13th. So for those of you who kind of missed the memo so far, what we are going to be doing is, because we can't get together, we can't sing together, we're going to be showing a whole bunch of brand new, never before seen videos Some of them have brand new audio. Some of them we've gone digging deep into the archives from past Christmas shows, and we really think that you're going to like what we have. We're also going to be talking to you guys live, just like this, in between the in between songs, and yeah, we hope you're going to like it. Should we go to the clip?
We're before you go to it, let's just sign off now, and that'll be the last thing. So thank you so much. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, John. Thank you, Tori. Thank you, KB. Thank you, Derek. Thank you, James. I am Bernie. This is TG Talk. Thank you so much. Have a good night. We love you all. Mwah.
You're a mean one. You're a mean one. You're a mean one. Mr. Grinch. You're a monster. You're a monster. You're a monster. Your heart's an empty hole. Your brain is full of spiders. You got garlic in your soul. You're a monster. Your heart's an empty hole. Your brain is full of spiders. You got garlic in your soul. You're a carousel. You're a wishing well, and you light me up when you ring my bell. You're a mystery. You're from outer space. You're every minute.